Hello, everyone. Sarah here. I am the founder of Mappy Hour. Hopefully, we have met before. If not, really excited to meet you all at in-person events coming soon. Before we get started for tonight, just like a few notes for everyone. There is a chat feature, so please hop in there, say hi, introduce yourself, where you're from, why you love biking. Just so you know, we expect everyone to be kind, be curious. No hate, intolerance, bullying of any kind is acceptable in the chat, and we will be moderating it. So be nice to each other, please. And hopefully everyone is a member on mappyhour.org. If you're not, go sign up so you can find out about upcoming events. And I'll also just say we have a lot of stuff planned for this summer, but I would also love to hear what you all want to either learn about, who you want to hear from, anything like that. So if you do have ideas, just email me at sarah@outdoorfest.com or slide into our DMs on Instagram, whatever works. Would love to hear everyone's ideas. If you want to share your story, put that in there too, because I know everyone here has a story to share. So it'd be super great to add some of those in this summer. So that's it from me. And I'm really excited to tonight be chatting with John. So John, aka Bobby.
How's it going, guys?
Hello. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm looking at you with the beer and realizing I forgot something very important.
Yes.
Thank you to our sponsor, Sierra Nevada.
Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Hooking it up for your boy.
Seriously. That was not planned, everyone, but I feel like that went really well.
Natural.
Yeah, it's so natural. Cool. Well, thanks for being here. I'm really excited to chat. I've been following you on Instagram for like a little over a year, so I feel like I'm meeting a celebrity right now.
It's not that deep. I don't post much, but when I do, I make sure it's pretty good content,
Yeah.
Whatever goes on in my daily life. But I'm excited to be here. I've been preparing for this for a minute. We've been preparing for a lot of other big things in the future. So I'm excited to share it with you guys.
Yeah, I'm thinking we kind of back up, do a little bit of history, and then jump into last summer and then what you're doing this summer. So to start, how'd you get into biking?
I got into cycling just looking for a job. I had came back home from school and I didn't finish school and I needed to work, get right back into, the workforce. So I decided to apply for a job delivering burritos at like a burrito spot called Protein Bar. And from there, I met like a manager who was really into bikes, and we started going to a street races. And for me, just meeting this local guy at the Protein Bar, I was able to connect with him on like a smaller level, and we got to like go to races and actually street race and see other like-minded individuals who I actually had no idea there was like a lifestyle behind it. I'm thinking it was just like a form of exercise. But then you show up to these places and, there's like community of people, like people who look after each other, people who support each other in whatever they needed. And like, I really was drawn to that, so that kind of like that camaraderie is what like got me really into cycling, So if it wasn't for like that messenger scene, I probably wouldn't have grown as much in the sport.
Yeah. So when you think of like that version of biking for you, was it like the athleticism, the commuting, or you're saying is like a mix and like ultimately the community, or like?
Yeah, I think it was more the community because you had people who race who didn't race and then people who threw races. So there was like a mixed crowd of everyone. So you didn't have to be the fastest guy just to like hang with these guys, but it was just the love of bicycles period is what kind of like, brought all these dudes together.
That's awesome.
And that was my whole like, what kind of like it's like a drug. I was like, I need to go back. It was pretty fun, like.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Definitely. And so for people who aren't from New York City who are watching, do you think that community is the same in other places? Do you think the New York City bike community is special or distinct? What do you think?
Scenes change, very depending on the state and the country. I've witnessed scenes all over the world, and New York is definitely very different. I can say, like, there are a lot of good wholesome people, but certain areas can be super cliquey, or you
Mm.
know, it's kind of harder to find like your set good of friends depending on like your area. That's why, like,
Yeah.
whenever people from DC, I feel like if you live in another state, you tend to stick more together. Because this is like we come from the same area. We speak the same language, same ebonics, same lingo, and come from New York, a lot of people stick with people who they know in their borough, because New York is so big, it's kind of harder to hang with people in different boroughs. So, I hang with a lot of Brooklyn cats because I live in Brooklyn.
That's what I was going to say. What's the best borough?
Yeah. I mean, well,
Yeah.
it varies. I say Brooklyn. People say Manhattan, people say the Bronx, people say Harlem, Queens. It all depends, but it's harder to hang out with all those other individual people because, they're boroughs. So, like I said, New York could be very cliquey. Europe is very open. When I went to Europe for the first time, it was very open darn. Like, they welcomed me with that whatever they needed, and I felt very loved, which is something I've experienced, but not to the level where like they will do anything for you, just for you to like go on, and be a better person. So,
Yeah. That's cool. I gotta.
different. It's very, very, very different.
Yeah. Awesome. So, all right. So you get into this community. You're working as a bike messenger. Yeah, just getting more comfortable with biking. Where does bike packing come in? Because that's like a next kind of like a tangent from
Yeah.
bike messenger, bike commuting.
That kind of like happened. So there was again, hanging out with a certain crew of guys. There was this guy named Austin Horse. He was like a super famous Red Bull athlete. He was like the stunt man for Premium Rush, whatever. And he was throwing an event in my hometown called the East Coast Messenger Stage Race. Is East Coast Messenger Stage Race event, something like that, where you raced from DC to, I believe, like Boston. It was a stage race, almost like a Tour de France, where like you slept, you raced, you slept, you raced for like 10 days. And I had no clue what I was getting into. Like, a few of my buddies were doing, and I was like, I'll do it, whatever, let's go. I have nothing to do. Actually, I did have something to do. I like took off of work just to do this. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And that was like my first real like bike packing experience. But technically I wasn't bike packing. I was more racing a stage race. But like, for me to bike long distances, that was like my first real um, taste of like biking long distance. And I was actually racing long distance, and it wasn't that fun. But after that, I was like, yo, we should do it again, but on like a smaller scale, and we're not racing. And like, at that time, I didn't own a geared bike, so I was on a fixed gear most of the time. So most of the touring I've ever done was only on fixed gear. So brakeless bike clipped in, like bombing hills, like, yeah, like 40 miles per hour, not clipped in. That was how we were used to doing it. But when I look back at it, I'm like, that was so stupid. That was so dumb.
That was like part of your journey, right? That's
yeah,
like
you learn a lot. You learn what not to do, and you constantly, you do it so much. So the first time, actually, when I went on that race, I was super discouraged. I was like, man, this is hard. Like, I'm not going to do it again. Like, yada, yada, yada. But then I'm learning, like, okay, it was a race. I wasn't really touring. I wasn't really like enjoying the ride. I'm just trying to get from point A to point B as fast as I was going. So when you take a step back and you're like, okay, let's pack all our stuff, just take our time, we'll get there, let's have fun. You really enjoy like bike packing. So my second time out with my buddies, we rode to the beach, and I really, really enjoyed there's like a 3-day hike. And then that's when the bug kicked in. I was like, okay, we're going to start racing alley cats, and we're going to start touring.
Right.
And there's so many other places I've gone, like touring wise and just racing wise, just from that small community.
That's awesome. I think
Yeah.
it's like so, I mean, I love bikes, and I feel like part of what is so special is that you can race alley cats, right? And have that experience and then do bike tours, which is just like a completely different way of
Yep.
experiencing the world, but it's
Hmm.
also on a bike, right? And it's like
Yes.
this,
So they have these things called cycle messenger championships, where they have multiple people from around the country who compete in one country or state or whatever it may be. And every year they do like a messenger bike packing event where they have a neighboring country and they would bike from that neighboring country to this country that's hosting the event. It'd be like a week-long pre-event. And once I start hearing that they were doing that, I was like, okay, I gotta do one of those.
oh
So
my God.
like it's really the community, honestly. It's like not even it's like more of the community. They're planning these crazy events and like keep pushing yourself to be there, wanting to be a part of them. You start doing really cool things, you know?
Yeah, and you mentioned you've been to a lot of places from bike touring. Like what are some of the
Uh,
favorites, highlights? But
I definitely my favorite tour. I did a tour from Helsinki to
damn.
Riga, Latvia on from like a tour. It was a ferry boat to Parnu, which is like the border of Estonia, and then we rode from Parnu to Latvia. Um, that was a beautiful tour. It was like a 2.5 week tour. For what I was saying, the CMWC is my first time out in Europe, and that was amazing. It
Yeah, I
was
have a lot of
beautiful
questions
weather.
about this.
Yeah, it's all good. Like go for it.
Okay, was this a route that you like made up yourself, or is this a pre-existing route?
So this is the pre-event. So the pre-event for so this was I want to say 2018, 2016 it might have been. It was CMWC Riga, and each year they host a pre-event, which is a neighboring city, which was Helsinki. So the guys in Helsinki, what you would do is you fly in Helsinki a week early, and you party and you'd hang out, and then when
Yeah.
the tour was starting, it'd be a 4-day ride from Helsinki all the way to Riga, and that was like 4 days.
Wow.
And you learned a lot. You learned a lot about yourself. That was like my first time doing a ride when I had to bike over 100 miles in a day.
That's a
Yeah,
lot of
like the first day was like 120. And then the rest of the day was like 90 days, 90 mile, 80 mile days. Um, but I was definitely like mentally prepared to have fun. You know, if you don't have like not prepared to have fun, like you won't enjoy yourself at all.
yeah.
100%.
I like that. So you like physically and mentally prepare for something like
Always. You have, yeah, like that, especially like that was my first time in Europe,
that.
first time really being on a plane that long. Um, First time like for a lot. And you know, I didn't know the language. Like my phone wasn't working right. Like I didn't know you're supposed to tell your cell phone provider which countries you're going through. And I was going through like 8 different countries.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was stressful at certain points, but I'm like, all right, we'll get through it, you know. The
Yeah.
bike fams got me.
That's
And,
awesome.
yeah, made a
So
lot of really, really cool friends who they actually like came to visit me the following year. I had like 4 or 5 friends from Copenhagen and Denmark, and I had a guy from Japan come and visit me to go to the next to go to our event, which is the North American Courier Championship. So each country has their own championship. You have like the Danish, the Italians, the Swiss, the Americans. You know, you have the Canadians. So everyone has their own championships, but then they have this worldwide championship. I think the last year that they hosted was in Jakarta, Indonesia. Yeah, I missed that one. Yeah, they've been all over. I think the next year is like Yokohama, Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
literally everywhere sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like a pretty amazing community of people.
Yeah. So are other people who are going and traveling for these career championships also bike touring? Like, is it a mix? Do a lot of people
Mhm.
kind of cross over?
So okay, so in Europe, you know, you'll have people who do the pre-event, but you'll have people who do
Yeah.
their own pre-event.
Okay.
So for the Riga tour, you have people coming from Milano biking. You have people coming from Poland biking. You have people coming from
Oh, so
Norway
people
biking.
do the event. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
that's like European man. Europe when they take the summer off, they take the summer
Yeah.
off, like a month long summer off. We're going out, like,
Mhm.
and that's awesome. Like,
Yeah.
hey, seeing those dudes get down like that, that's like something I want to do, you know? Take a month off, go travel a few countries.
Yeah, just be on the bike.
Yep, picking, they taught me how to recycle cans, because like a bottle in Europe is like 10 cents in euros. So, you do what, like 20, 30 cans, you got yourself a nice meal for the day. So I learned that a lot in Europe,
Yeah.
just recycling cans.
Yeah.
Pretty unique way of saving money.
Seriously. I feel like I could talk to you about this trip all night, but want to get into kind of Underground Railroad ride and last summer. So before we get into exactly what the ride is, I think I would love to know like how you decided to take bike touring and something that you did personally and turn it into something that was very public with a group, and all of that. Like, where did this concept come from? And, what were the steps for you going from, doing this for yourself and deciding to do it kind of in a bigger way?
So it started from we biked to Niagara Falls last summer, or a few months prior to us doing the trip, and we really wanted. I was trying to get hyped. Every time I go into like a ride or like a long ride, I try to find some type of inspiration behind whatever I'm doing, whether it's like a video, whether I'm partying, whether I'm whatever. And normally I'm just looking for videos. YouTube is like my outlet. So, and I just couldn't find any YouTube videos kind of relatable to what I was doing. I felt like there was like a blank space. And so dealing with what we were going through in time, at that moment, I thought it'd be a really cool idea to kind of just like, fit that void, fill that void with like my own idea of biking on the Underground Railroad. And people really wanted to see it happen. And that was the part that kind of blew my mind, the amount of support we got in such a little time. And, from a bunch of strangers who really didn't know me, they just like loved the idea of, we really want to see this and learn, about the trials and tribulations you went through on the trip.
Yeah. So why'd you pick this specific route, and how did you learn about it? Like, had you already wanted to do this route in the past? Or?
Well, doing research, come to find out that there is no really specific route for the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Underground Railroad was more of a way of traveling, where they only traveled at night closer to the railroads, but a lot of slaves, they wouldn't travel really that far. Certain slaves would be smart enough where you can dress the part, or, you can forge paperworks, to have your fellow people believe that you were free, or, have this persona that you were free just by talking a certain way or dressing a certain way. So routes, vary. There are routes up north, there's routes all along the Eastern Shore. There's a lot of different places, but, it's really about what speaks to your heart, and I felt as a lot of these places that I've chosen were connected to my life. And I felt also would tell a really cool story, in the video relating to history, and especially the things that we were going through in that time. So it was a lot of mixed ideas kind of put into one big idea.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you want to keep this for the film, but if you are like okay with sharing now, I would love to know how you picked the certain stops and like which ones were maybe the most like resonant for you. I don't want to say most important because I'm sure they were all important, but like which ones connected with you the most?
We stopped at our first stop was pretty memorable. Just because it just really showed how much a small conversation can like bring so much, like good moment, good vibes and good moments, just from like telling people, like one person what you're doing, which snowballed into like, them turn out to being a journalist and getting Fox News to come shoot you, to you getting complimentary hotels, to like you meeting the mayor, to you like getting private like museum tours. So like I think just the full on beginning of the trip was just super memorable. Like us unpacking our bikes and random people coming up and no one talking except myself because I was so excited. No one else
Yeah.
was as chatty.
Yeah.
It turned up to be like a really good thing. And then after that happened, everyone started talking. We'd talk to whoever about whatever.
That's cool. So like broke the ice a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely broke the ice. People like it really was like, I guess the riders didn't really realize how significant or important it was to other people until like that moment. Like, damn, like, a 2-second conversation got us hooked up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm also realizing I'm assuming that everyone read the write-up of this event, but just in case they didn't, will you do just like a quick, what was this ride? How far was it? Why were you doing just like overview of like what we're talking about right now?
Right. So I decided to ride the Underground Railroad with 5 of my closest friends, all from African American descent, except one, Eduardo. He's Dominican. But we rode the Underground Railroad in it's like 1,100 miles from Mobile, Alabama to Washington, D.C. To inspire, like-minded individuals like myself who, seek cycling freedom but lack the inspiration of it. So just wanted to kind of be that inspiration for the next up and coming generation.
Perfect. Thanks. And so, yeah, just to dig into that a little bit, I mean, while I was watching, kind of the trip go on, it did seem like you were getting a lot of press, and I know that you are going to be doing some more media around it, I think.
Yeah.
So do you feel like, how do you feel like it's going so far? And like, what are the other things that need to happen to really like tell the story and help, the next generation, like you're saying, feel like this is a ride and a space that they can be in?
Well, like the production standpoint of the movie is kind of like out of my hands. Like I I want it to be as big as the production team, proposed it to be, but I'm not gonna be upset if it doesn't, like again, like if it's on YouTube, that'll make me happy
Yeah.
because a lot of inspiration is on YouTube.
100%.
If it goes to a HBO, that's even cooler. But again, like it's for whoever is gonna find it. Like
Mhm.
if you want to get stoked on bike packing, that video is there for you. Like wherever it may be. So the circumstances of like what would have happened to it, like I'm not really too worried about it. I'm not really too like stressed about it. I just whatever takes its course, and that's where we're gonna go.
Yeah. Cool. And do you have I mean, do you have a sense of when that the production is happening, or is that?
They're still working on it.
Yeah.
Apparently they're still working on it, but they have it in some really cool people's hands.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you who, but it's in some
Yeah.
some
So
pretty
you just
cool
have to
people's
sit
hands.
tight. Just be
Yeah,
patient. Yeah.
just be patient. Everyone asks me, when's the movie coming out? When's the movie coming out? I don't have no
Yeah.
clue. Like
Okay.
it's not at it's not in my hands anymore.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish it was, but it's not,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
All right. Yeah. So for the ride, you said that you were with 5 of your friends. How did you recruit them? Were they like, did they need persuading to join, or were they just all in from day one?
Yeah, certain people needed persuading, certain people needed uh, finances to come, like certain people who backed out last minute, didn't come, people who just showed up randomly, kind of the ride. But I picked a lot of these gentlemen just from race experience.
Hmm.
Like Rashad, we raced cyclocross together. Me and Alex, we grew up biking together. We lived in the same neighborhood. We came from the same background, so me and him clicked automatically. Eduardo, same thing. We raced alley cats together. And the only person who I didn't really know was Carson. Carson was like my mystery rider out of everyone. Amir, he was our 6th man. He actually flew in from Atlanta, from New York to come ride with us. And he actually broke his hand on the ride, which
Whoa.
I like later found out like a few days ago. He
Well, you
actually
didn't
broke his
know
hand.
during the trip?
Nah, he didn't know. We didn't know. But he kept riding.
Just grit and bear it.
Yeah, he was just gritting it, and come to find out he actually fractured his wrist. Sucks. But that was it. That was all the riders, and I don't think I'd choose anyone different. Everyone played a really key role, and it took us one day to really get accustomed to one another, like one day, and everything else besides that was super fluid, like super fluid.
Yeah. What was the most unexpected part of the trip for you?
I think the most unexpected thing was probably like all the dogs. We got chased by at least 3 dogs a day.
What?
Yeah, just at least three. At least three. I mean, like in the most inconvenient places, you could be climbing a hill, dog will pop out. Getting food at a Dollar General, dog pops out.
Huh.
Man, it's just some dogs friendly, certain dogs like.
These are just off-leash dogs hanging out.
Yeah, we're in the South, like in the, as my friends call it, the armpit of America.
I thought
But
that was Jersey, but
yeah, I guess. But I think Alabama's beautiful. I think the whole South is beautiful. I'm from the South, and I definitely, but damn the dogs, man. Just put y'all's dogs on leashes, please.
right? Especially if
Please.
they're chasing
Man,
people.
that's giving me a heart attack
Yeah.
a few times. But a lot of these dogs are gonna be in the movie. It's gonna be a lot of dog
Like the
chases.
subplot is the dogs.
I hope not. I hope not.
Yeah. And so like physically, how was the ride? Was it challenging or you felt like pretty ready for it?
Honestly, like, honestly, no, I wasn't because like we were up, like we were kind of glamping, like we were living kind of luxury. I'm not, like I've never like luxury toured like that. I don't want to say people who are like, oh, you guys are really backpack. I'm like, man, we weren't really backpipe packing. We had like a nutritionist, we had like like a van carrying all our stuff. It really made it like stress free.
Yeah.
And like because of that, the miles were like nothing.
That's awesome.
It was, I think it's more of a mental thing at that point. Because physically we had everything we needed to be there. Just mentally, that was tough, dealing with rain days or, days where it was just really hot. Or like, cause me and the heat, I don't really get along with the heat too much. But yeah, just mentally, just keeping going, making sure you eat before you're hungry, drink before you're thirsty, key things like that, and you'll be fine. But as long as you're having fun, you'll also be fine too. As soon
Yeah.
as you stop having fun, that's when like things start going downhill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy how much your mindset can affect things.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So for people who are newer to bike packing, like, do you have any tips or, like tricks?
Tips for bike packing. Tips for just if you're carrying everything on your bike, just pack smart. Pack.
Yeah.
Don't overpack. It's actually better to underpack than overpack, in my opinion, because you can always buy something if you're on the road, depending on where you are. But just carrying, the more weight you carry, the more stressed out you're going to be.
Right.
Yeah, trying to load like your coffee maker and your pull-out couch and TV, whatever, I don't know. People bring those type of things on them, like a cot. I've seen a guy carry on a cot with him. I'm like, bro,
Why?
cot, really? Like,
Yeah.
like me personally, I have like a hard time sleeping, but like if I'm camping, I'm like uncomfortable. But if I'm doing everything properly, I'm fine. Or, so there's definitely ways of, packing smartly, packing correctly. I'm sorry, and just always having fun. That's my key advice. Yeah.
Love it. Cool. All right. So you completed that trip last summer, and I know you have some new stuff coming up this year. So tell us about 2021 and what's going on.
Cool. So the trip last year, we actually ended up doing a few bike giveaways on the trip. We gave away like 80 bikes, 80 to 100 on the trip. We gave out 40 in Brunswick, and I believe like another 45 in DC. And after that, that was like the coolest thing part for me about the trip was just giving the bikes away. Like giving the bikes away and just seeing the smiles on kids' faces who have never had bikes before, or like this is their first time having a bike. Like I said, yeah, never having a bike before, or just like their bike was broken and needed a new bike. So to give back, and helmets and pumps, whatever we needed, was like the best thing ever. So like after that, I went to all my sponsors who sponsored me for that trip. I was like, hey, like I want to continue to just do that. Like, will
Yeah.
you support me? Will you support me in my adventures of trying to, put a bike in the next generation's hands? Will you be on my journey? And a few people said no, a few people said yes. So with that, that energy and that wave, I kind of started my own nonprofit. It's
Mhm.
called the Smiles for Miles Tour, where we were this summer, we will be uh, going to 10 different states, and we will be rehabbing, giving away, and also teaching lessons on cycling. So it's not just, we're going to give bikes away, we're going to fix bikes, which are also going to teach you how to maintain and properly do things, properly succeed while on a bike, whether it's on a trail, whether it's in the streets, whether it's by yourself, like in any aspect where you can feel safe and comfortable while on a bike.
Yeah.
Um, and it is still a work in progress, but it's coming together. We don't want to. I told myself I wouldn't want to do another GoFundMe because that was super stressful the first time doing that for the ride. Like I wanted to create a product for the people who want to help me out. Like I want to give you something back if you're going to donate to me.
Sure.
So I partner with Pearl Izumi, and they offered me to do a tech tee and tech sock line. So it's
Cool.
all breathable clothes. So we have a long sleeve, a short sleeve, and a 3/4 sleeve. And then we also have breathable socks, all from Pearl Izumi, with a Smiles for Miles logo. And we're all selling merch on our website. So that's like our biggest way of gathering donations, is either selling merch, or you can just donate on our website. Uh, we also are looking for anyone who's willing to donate bikes. Like if you have an old decrepit bike that is sitting in your garage and you don't need, we will come get it. We will come. We'll either ship it out to us, or we will come get it, or you take it to your local bike shop and they'll handle it. But that's going to be a really key aspect to making this all happen, is the community.
Yep.
We need the community to come out and actually come together and take those neglected bikes and bring them back so that the next generation can get the same piece. Because a
Yeah.
lot of you've learned that like a lot of people who kids who outgrow bikes, or like they have that flat tire, so they don't know how to fix it, or they don't have the money to fix it, and then they go through all these problems, and then you have a free bike that's just sitting there. Why can't you come to us and we can show you how to keep that bike alive and keep riding and keep using it for the next generation.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Okay, so just to confirm, people can go to your website now, buy that Pearl Izumi stuff.
No, not at the moment.
Not yet.
So
Okay.
we haven't. This is all this teaser, teasing
Okay,
you
cool.
guys. So
Coming soon.
we are doing a press release, and we're doing a video teaser on the 11th. So there is going to be a video behind this. You guys are going to see, but I haven't really told anyone or shown anyone yet. But we're doing a lot more than just the tech tees too. We're doing sticker packs, we're doing patches, we're doing hats, hoodies, as well as and regular t-shirts. We're just trying to get as much product to the people so that way people understand what we're doing. And then exactly like I said, we want a product to you guys, like, to remember us by.
Totally. And if people were going to buy gear anyway, like why wouldn't they buy this and support you, right?
And it's going for a good cause, like all your money that you guys put into buying this stuff is going to go into buying kids brand new bikes, chains, cassettes, grips, tires, whatever they need to get on the road. That's what our money is going to go towards.
Yeah.
So
I also wanted, go ahead. I was also going to ask about getting the bikes. I mean, I have heard that getting bikes right now is like impossible. So what are you doing considering like the lack of bikes in this world, and how are you getting these bikes right now?
So again, that's where we're reaching out to the community. If you have a bike that needs to be repaired, come to us, but we're also reaching into like these local sanitation areas and local police departments, because they confiscate and do a lot of bike, if you leave your bike locked up for X amount of months and it's abandoned, the city will come take it, you know. And in the city, what they do with these bikes is they just scrap them, you know. But instead of scrapping them, I've heard of certain people in certain states actually acquiring these bikes and using them as a tax write-off. Like I have one of my good buddies in Fort Worth, Texas. Shout out to Guido. If you're watching this, he's actually been my logistics manager for this whole trip. And actually went out to Texas. He flew me out to Texas to do some rehabs with his kids, and we ended up fixing like 120 bikes in a day. Yeah. And he's acquiring his bikes from the local dump and police department. So he's stacked full of tire, like all used. It's all used stuff, you know, but it's still good quality stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess, you know, people don't really realize that, like, it might, you know, the bike might look abandoned, but it still has good pieces on it, you know.
Yeah.
Good brakes, good tires, because, you know, it might not look like it's running, but a lot of these pieces can be used for something else.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if we can,
the skilled mechanics.
exactly. Like if we can get, you know, people on board with recycling, I think like it saves a lot of lives and saves a lot of money too.
Yeah. That's amazing. I never realized that there's like potentially this like resource for bikes that
no one's tapped into yet.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Or let me not say anyone, but very few people
Yeah.
have tapped into.
Yeah.
Very few.
Okay, cool. So for everyone watching, if you have a bike or parts or anything, number one, call to action. Get that to Smiles for Miles Tour.
You can send me an Instagram DM at Smiles for Miles Tour, or you can shoot me an email at finances@smilesformilestour.com. If you want to reach out and just, you know, want us to stop past your shop or your school or your YMCA or church or whatever, we'll pretty much come out to wherever you guys need us to be, you know. So that's kind of what our goal is to do after this whole tour. We want to be able to come out and do this for whatever community access to, you know, and then locally as well.
That's awesome. And so for this tour, you said 10 states. Do you have like the itinerary so far?
I do. So the 10 states would be Richmond, it would be Washington, D.C., Richmond, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, Bentonville, Arkansas, Fort Worth, Texas, LA, Los Angeles, California, San Francisco, California, Moab, Utah, Chicago, Illinois, Champion, Pennsylvania, and then New York, New York.
Nice. Okay, cool. And so if people are watching from those places, are there ways that they can support locally or like?
So locally, if you want, when we release our days that we're going to be arriving in each state, we would love for you guys just to come out and come ride with us, come chat with us, bring your bike. Let's see if we can fix it and just come hang, you know, grab a beer with me and chat it up. You know, it's post COVID, I feel as though. So now we can start doing
actually hang out with people.
Yeah. I would love to hang out with folks now.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, cool. So I also want to, if people have questions, pop them into the chat. I think right now we just, we have some like, Courtney said, very unique journey. And we also have a good vibes note, but no specific questions yet. So we'll leave the list open for a few minutes if people have questions, but how can people follow, support? Like, what's the number one thing that people can do that you haven't, you know, if you haven't mentioned it yet?
If you want to follow the nonprofit, just on Instagram is at Smiles for Miles Tour, or you can follow me personally at _dammitbobby _ on Instagram. That'd be like the easiest way. I pretty much talk to you. If you want to talk to me, I'm pretty much answer my DMs to pretty much anyone.
Cool.
So
yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. So Courtney says, Courtney, New York City bike mayor, brown bike girl, said she's doing the Big Fix repair days. I don't know if you're connected with that yet. So y'all should connect.
Yeah. If you want to DM me at smilesformilestour.com, we can definitely connect on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. All right, sweet. And then, yeah, a few last minute questions for me before we wrap. One is like, what's your next big bike tour? What do you have in store? What do you want to do?
We were just debating that. We were actually thinking about going to Africa.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where?
we were thinking about doing like a Ghana tour.
Wow.
Yeah, not really too sure. Is either that or we go to the West Coast. Something a little less supported.
Okay.
Yeah, a little less supported, more homegrown, less production kind of vibes.
Right. Just the biking.
Yeah, just the biking. But I've been so busy with this nonprofit that I actually haven't really had time to tour at all this year. And I might not get to, before August. We'll see. We'll see. I hope so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Summertime. You got to be on a bike.
I know, but I work on a bike and
Yeah.
I try my best. We'll see, but it's tough trying to like do that and tour at the same time.
Yeah. Start a
And work at the
nonprofit.
same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot going on.
maybe
Cool.
next year we'll see, or maybe in the winter.
Yeah. Our last speaker was talking about how she did her first, or it wasn't her first, but she did her first winter tour. And basically the whole talk was like, here are things you should not do. I think it was like pretty uncomfortable to do like a winter one without the right gear. So
yeah. It'd be like, or I'd do like a winter, it'd be like winter in the East Coast, but like nice weather on the West Coast. Like,
oh yeah, like if you leave the East Coast, hell yeah. Go to
that'd be like
California.
a good tour.
Yeah. All right, you're not trying to camp in snow.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's out the question.
I don't know. Some people are. They're like,
some people dig it, not
Yeah.
me though. I just can't, me and snow, sleeping in snow. I don't see again, that has a lot more things I have to pack on my bike.
Right, true. And that goes against the core philosophy.
The Bobby motto. Less gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Credit card. I like credit card can't like touring, honestly.
Honestly, I don't know what that is.
So like you don't carry much. You plan on stopping at a hotel every night and sleeping in a warm bed and shower. But it's called, so you only bring your credit card. You don't really bring anything else.
It's called credit card camping?
Credit card touring.
Touring. Okay, I was going to say that's what I'm going to call it when I go to a hotel next time, credit card camping. Amazing. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for being here and just sharing all the cool stuff you're doing and your trips and giving some advice to people. And hopefully, everyone's inspired and ready to go on their next tour, whatever it may be.
Oh man, I hope everyone. I got like the YouTube channel coming up, and we got some pretty cool ideas for touring under a budget or touring on a budget. So you guys be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Small for Miles TV.
Cool.
That's where a lot of our videos for the August tour is going to be on that channel pretty soon.
That's awesome.
But,
I'm going to tell everyone to DM you too with ideas. So if you have questions about touring.
I would love ideas because me and my buddy have been spitballing like, how are we going to make this happen? Like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Come up with some crazy ideas, but I love ideas. So if you guys got anything creative, please send it my way.
Amazing. Cool. All right. Well, signing off for tonight.
All right.
Thanks again for being here.
Anytime.
And thanks for everyone who joined. And until next time.
All right.
All right. Bye.